Hello everyone, this is Endgame Mark with the box and the breakdown of the demo. This is Spider-Man for the PlayStation 4. To start things right off, there was a pretty good size update. This update size was 19 gigabytes big, and it will take you to version 1.17. Now, what this updates mostly consist of was a bunch of added features and content, like newer difficulty mode, new Game Plus mode, new outfits for Spider-Man, as well as a photo mode, as well as a lot of bug fixes and added little features here and there. So sadly, it is a pretty beefy and adds a bunch of content to the game if you download this 19 gigabyte update. But I did play the entire game without updating it, and I didn't experience hardly any problems at all. I only had the game crash only once, and I did have some frame rate drops here and there. I never experienced anything that stopped progression, so that's a huge bonus and plus. But please bear in mind, bugs can be fickle. They can be one person can play the entire game and not experience a single problem, and another person can play the game and experience every single problem the game can offer. So just bear in mind, on my playthrough without updating it, I didn't experience hardly any problems at all, which is really nice to see compared to the recent game I just covered. Now, on to Spider-Man as a game. It's actually very well made superhero game. It can closely be compared to the Batman Arkham Asylum games or Arkham City and so forth in its gameplay, environment, and somewhat of its the design and its overall feel of the game, which is good and bad. It depends how you want to look at it. Good as it's fluid, it's fun, it's rewarding, and it does make you feel like a superhero. Bad in terms of that it's nothing new. You're not going to experience anything ultimately new from the game in terms of gameplay mechanics. But overall, you just will have a good time with it. The game has a great deal of extra content as well. Like, you have 3 difficulties, you have a bunch of gadgets you unlock, you have special little game modes you can do as well, like you can take on challenges, as well as take on groups of bandits and so forth, or thugs, as well as hunt down backpacks and so forth. So it's got a lot of content in its open world exploration. Now, graphically, the game is just jaw-droppingly gorgeous for a Spider-Man game. It's definitely one of the most immersive Spider-Man experiences you can possibly get out there for being Spider-Man. You feel like Peter Parker when he's not Spider-Man. You feel like Spider-Man every single way. It's amazing to get to see all the villains of Spider-Man. I don't know if anyone was like me when I was growing up, when you watched the old cartoon, the 1990s cartoon Spider-Man. It just gives me that feeling so much when I was a kid watching that old cartoon of Spider-Man. It just was very immersive and just very well done. Now, character-wise, Peter Parker is really represented pretty well done. I think he's both charming as well as nerdy, and he has that quirkiness about himself, which was really cool and very fun to even play Peter Parker just as Peter Parker without having the Spider-Man abilities. I thought they did a really good job. Mary Jane is also in the game. At first, Mary Jane rubbed me off the wrong way. I didn't really like her at the beginning. I mean, I just think that her introduction could have had a lot more work done to it. And some of her missions are not fun to do. They just feel like they're tacked on and just kind of saying, hey, look, you get to play as Mary Jane, other than just that. I didn't care for that, but as Mary Jane as a character later, I really came to like her. I really loved her, who she was. I just think they could have done a little bit better introducing her, and probably not introduce her level mode, or just do a better job with it. It just was not fun to play as Mary Jane, for me anyway. But overall, the game was great. I love seeing all the characters and villains that Spider-Man had to face. I love the gadgets. When you start unlocking more abilities and so forth, it makes you feel even more like a powerhouse. Like you start getting Spider-Man's gadgets and so forth, and getting his skills up there by progressing, by getting experience. Very well done. It's easily, I can see why it's considered one of the best superhero games you can get out there. And that's why I want to also talk about is, I'm really, honestly disappointed that Spider-Man is exclusive to PlayStation 4. Now, I know people know me, I've been part of PlayStation, and PlayStation's my #1 place to go to the game, but it disappoints me that a character like Spider-Man, who's beloved by many and is not like an original IP from Sony, is exclusive on the PlayStation 4. Now, don't get me wrong, if Sony helped fund the project and they're the ones who made it even be in existence, like kind of like Bayonetta 2 for the Nintendo Switch, then I'm perfectly fine with it being exclusive. But if they like just bought a big bulk of it so they can just get the rights to have exclusive, even though they had no part in doing anything with it, then I'm going to be disappointed, because it's a game that should be really enjoyed by many people, not just on PlayStation users. I just want to get that off my chest a little bit. It's a great game, don't get me wrong, and I can see why it's the highest selling superhero game on the market. It even beated Batman. That's insane considering the fact that it's only had one game in its existence and it's only on limited on one console. That's really impressive if you ask me. Now, another thing I need to get on about the game is that, don't get me wrong, I'm glad that the game runs great, plays great, and you can just get a great time with it even with the vanilla version. What's disappointing is that there's a lot of extra content they add through updates that should have just been there day one, like New Game Plus. Why wasn't that there from the beginning? That's like a basic function all the way since the PS1 and PS2 days. How is it that now that's a feature that's getting added later to a game? That's really just disheartening and just shows the lack of thought sometimes in game development. Like, that, how is New Game Plus a secondary thought? I've seen other games with this as well, like God of War had the same thing, as well as Deus Ex Human Revolutions. They didn't include New Game Plus into it until later. That makes no sense in development. I mean, that's like, should be like one of your top priorities with these kinds of games, is New Game Plus. I know I went at the rant right there, but it's just aggravating that this is something that had to get added later, and it's not some update. But there's a lot of extra content they do have in updates-wise, but that's just a little bonus, extra little stuff. I won't talk about that stuff, but the overall experience from the vanilla version is amazing. And the fact that you can get this game for like $20 right now, brand new, and off on disc, it runs great, plays great, and feels great, is amazing in itself. I truly do hope the game will get a Game of the Year edition or complete edition down the road, which will most likely require 2 discs, considering the size of it all. But it definitely needs it. I would love to see it. But even if you want to just try it out, just buying the vanilla version of the game for $20 is well worth it. But if you want to hold off for Game of the Year edition, I don't blame you. But overall, I had an amazing experience playing Spider-Man. I never really fast traveled in the game. I just kept web swinging all over the place. It was just fun to do. But on that note, I need to address something about the web swinging. The web swinging is a lot of fun, don't get me wrong, I had a great time with it, but it isn't the most precise sometimes. It's automatic, so you don't have to do a lot of stuff, which is nice, but there are some challenges in the game where it requires you to be precise with your jumps and your swings and your dives and so forth, and then that's when you notice that the controls are not as smooth and polished as the developers would like you to think it was. I just found those missions to be a little aggravating because, I mean, I felt like I was messing up when it wasn't my fault. It was just the game's messing up with the web swinging. That's only my biggest gripe with the controls. Sometimes camera can get in the way from you to be able to see, or gets locked, or yanks the camera to a certain area to make you want to see it, because they want you to see something, and it can cause you to mess up. That's another little bit of gripe there. And I've had sometimes where the enemies shot through walls, like they'll be aiming at me and a little indicator telling me they're about to shoot me, but even though I'm behind something, or behind a giant building, and they'll shoot through the building. That could be a little aggravating at times. But overall, great time. I highly recommend it. Both the vanilla version, and if there's a Game of the Year edition or complete edition down the road, highly recommend that as well. I enjoyed this game. It's definitely probably one of my most favorite superhero games out there. Batman and Spider-Man are my 2 most favorite superheroes, both from DC as well as Marvel, and it's great that they both have the greatest games on the market to be played. I can't praise this game enough. I mean, the only way I could praise it more is if they get a complete edition or Game of the Year edition with everything on disc, which, please, we need that. I would love to play New Game Plus and so forth. It's really aggravating that New Game Plus isn't on the disc. But great game. I know I've already said that already, but I mean, it's well worth looking into. So like always, I will leave links down in the description if you're interested in a copy, which I highly recommend. And hit that like, subscribe button if you want to see more videos from me. And I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye-bye!
Now that you quit smoking, what do you tell people when you come up here?
That I need a break from their crap.
Fair enough. So, why'd you call? Need a date to the policeman's ball?
You got a black and white suit? No ball this year anyway. We spent too much integrating Oscorp surveillance tech.
Worth it though, right?
It was. Until an hour ago. The system went down. Citywide. Every tower.
How?
They tell me someone sabotaged the central server, and now all the towers are offline.
Inside job?
Maybe. I'll figure it out later. Right now, we need to get the towers back online. Fast.
And you called me? Aw, that's sweet.
I called someone I could trust. Plus, the signals are scrambled and we have no idea how to fix it.
Ooh. I love a challenge.
You break it, you buy it.
I thought you trusted me.